Hey, what's up? I'm Norris and welcome back to another solo. Today I'll be doing Wifey's new Simplicity Mimi G style pattern 9687. And today we'll be working on view C, the pants. Now if you're new to sewing, I just need a refresher course. You can click the link in the description box below. If you need further instructions from there, I would advise you to sign up to sewingacademy.com and you can sign up for our free trial and get the first 5 courses for free, and then come back and sew along with us. So let's get started. Okay, like I said before, we'll be working on Mimi G style Simplicity pattern 9687, and we'll be working on view C, the pants. So if you look to the back, you'll see fabric suggestions, and then also you can look to see what notions you need. I know we'll be using a elastic cord for this, and outside of that, I don't think we need any other notions for this pattern. Obviously check the sizes, check the finish measurement so you can get more accurate at the end. Okay, so now that we know what garment we're making, let's go through all the pattern pieces. Okay, so first we have pattern piece number 19. This is the leg casing. You want to cut 2 of these out of your fabric. Next is pattern piece number 16. This is the pocket. You want to cut 4 of these out of your fabric. Pattern piece 18, back casing. You want to cut 1 of these out of your fabric. Pattern piece number 17, this is the front casing. You want to cut 1 of these out of your fabric as well. Next we have pattern piece number 15. This is the back. You want to cut 2 of these out of your fabric. Pattern piece number 14. This is the front. You want to cut 2 of these out of your fabric. And last but not least, we have pattern piece number 20. This is the elastic guide for the waist. You don't need to cut anything out of this. You just need to put your elastic on here and cut the same length. And for pattern piece 21, this is the leg casing guide. Just put your elastic up to it and you want to cut it out the same length. And for this project, we'll be using 1-inch elastic. Okay, so once you have all of your pattern pieces cut out of fabric, we can begin sewing. Okay, the very first thing we're going to do, we're going to take our front and one of our front pieces and then one of our back pieces, and we're going to place them right sides facing, and we're going to stitch the inner leg first. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of pins in here. Okay, now that we have a pin, you want to head to the machine. We're going to stitch all the way across using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so do that, come back and we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, I went ahead and stitched my inside seam on my leg, and I went ahead and also serged it. So next what we're going to do is we're going to grab both front and back on both pant legs, and we're going to turn them right sides facing onto themselves like this. So both of my backs are this way and then both of my fronts are here. And what we're going to do is we're going to pin on the inside crotch right here. There should be 3 notches for the back. Make sure you align that inside seam there. Okay, so now we're going to head to the machine. We're going to stitch starting on one end, go all the way through the crotch, and then up the other end. Okay, so do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so I'm back from the machine. As you can see, I went ahead and stitched, and I secured that seam by serging. So next what we're going to do is I'm going to open up one side, front or back, it doesn't really matter. And we're just going to take our pockets, and there should be a notch. So you want to take that notch and line it up, right sides facing, right there on the end, on the edge of that fabric. Line it up. Okay. And you want to do that to the other side too. Okay, now we're going to be doing the same thing to the back or the front, depending on which one you did first. I'm just going to demonstrate these two, and we're going to head to the machine. We're just going to stitch all the way down till we get to the end of the pocket using 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. You want to do that to all 4 sizes. Okay, so 2 in the front and then also 2 in the back. Do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so I'm back from the machine. I went ahead and attached all my pockets. As you can see, all 4 of them. And for my back, I went ahead and serged from the top all the way down to the hem for that outside seam. For the front, I didn't do that quite yet because this pocket will be turning over to the front and you won't be seeing this part. So I'll serge the outside seam later. One thing I do want to note, you should also understitch on the front pockets only. So these are the back, the two front ones only. You just want to turn the seam allowances towards the pocket and you want to stitch close to that seam but on the pocket side, and that's where you get that understitching at. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to place this right sides facing just like this. We turn one pant leg at a time. Okay, show one pant leg at a time. You see it's right sides facing. Okay, so we're going to pin. Now there should be two markers right here, and you don't want to stitch in between here. You want to stitch here, then we're going to back stitch and cut our threads, and we're going to skip over to this marker because this is where we put our hands into our pocket, and then we're just going to stitch the rest of the way, and then we're also going to stitch around here. So I'm going to pin real quick. Okay, just like I said, once again we're going to stitch here to our dot, and then back stitch, cut your threads, then we're going to start again, back stitch, and then continue all the way to the hem. And then after we do that, we're going to do another stitch going all the way around and ending up right here. Okay, so do that using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, and we're going to do the other pant leg the same exact way, and then we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, I went ahead and stitched our outside seam as well as the pocket bag. And then now what we're going to do is I want you to take your scissors. I want you to clip only on your back seam just to open up that seam. Then do the same on the other side. All right, just to open up that seam allowance. And then now what we're doing, I'm going to put this to the side for right now, and we're going to work on our waistband. So if you haven't already, you want to go ahead and do your buttonholes right here. And also I went ahead and did 2 squares of interfacing just to stabilize the fabric. So right sides facing, you want to take your front and then also your back, and we're going to place them right sides facing and pin only on the short ends. Okay, so we're going to head to the machine, and you want to stitch one side all the way down. The direction says the left side, but it doesn't really matter because we're just inserting the elastic. But for the remaining side, there are 2 dots, and you want to keep that open. So you want to stitch from the top down, back stitch, cut your threads, and then we're going to move down to the second dot, and you want to stitch to the end. All right, so that's going to create and leave that opening on one side. So do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine, and I left that opening right here on one side, as you can see. And then now we're going to turn it onto itself with the wrong sides facing. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn it like this. And it would be best to give this a good press. And also, the instruction says to baste it. You can baste the raw edge if you would like, but I'm pretty good with just placing it on my waist and stitching it. So I'm just going to pin a little bit just to keep it even. Okay, so now we're going to head to the machine, and we're going to stitch on our stitching line. And I went and measured the stitching line. It's about a 1/2 inch from the folded edge. So from the folded edge, you can use that as a guide to be your seam allowance and stitch all the way around. And that 1/2 inch is going to catch just on the top of that opening on one of your sides. Okay, so do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so I'm back from the machine, and now we're going to go ahead and attach our waistband. But before we do that, I do want to let you know, so I have the right sides facing up. You want to take your pocket bag and press them to the front. As you can see, you'll see both of the top of my pocket bag are pressed to the front, and I just baste them across the top so they can stay in place, okay? So once you do that, we can go ahead and you want your buttonholes to be facing up as well, just like the front. And then you want to turn it with the right sides facing in and just slide in your pant. And now I'm going to make sure I put everything in the right place by matching up notches and side seams. Okay, so now we're going to head to the machine and we're going to stitch along the top all the way around using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So do that, come back and we'll continue. Okay, so I'm back from the machine. I went ahead and pressed my seam up, and then I also serged the inside of that remaining seam, okay? And then next what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and insert our elastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that, put it on the safety pin, and then you wanna find the side that you had open, and we're just going to push that in and go all the way around. Now when you get really close and the other end starts to go in, you want to just pin it so it won't go all the way through and you lose your elastic. Okay, and now that we have the other end out, what we're going to do is we just go to the machine, overlap it like this, and you can either zigzag it or just do a few straight stitches up and down just to secure it. So do that, come back and we'll continue. Okay, now we're back from the machine. As you can see, we have our elastic inside. Only thing you have to do now is just hand stitch that closed and you're all done with the waistband. And then now we're just gonna move down to our leg casing. Gonna grab your leg casing, and I've already stitched this together, just gonna re-show you. So with the leg casing, the same that we did with the waistband, you want to stitch where until you get to the dot, break your threads, move over, back stitch, and then continue over. It's gonna create that little opening here for later. And then you wanna press that open. Then once you do that, you want to turn it wrong sides facing and give it a good press. And then now, right sides facing, the opening visible on the outside, we're going to line that seam up with that inside seam and we're going to pin. Okay, now that we have it pinned, we're going to head over to the machine. We're going to stitch using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around. And then I'm going to clean my seam up with a serger and then press my seam allowance up. Okay, so you want to do that here and then also to your other pant leg the same exact way. Okay, so I'm back from the machine. I've already attached my leg casing and I went ahead and finished off that seam with a serge. And once again, just like the waistband, you just want to hand stitch that opening right there and you'll be done with the leg casing. I've already put my elastic cord in. I just did it the same way by using my buttonholes to push it all the way around. And once you get done with all that, you're all done. All right, congratulations. Now, I hope you enjoyed this course. And also be sure to tag us on Instagram at Norris Dánta Ford and also at Mimi G Style so we can see all of your amazing makes. Okay, see you in the next one.